vote on potential rule changes while we're here at these meetings. A lot of the coaches talking about the tush push play, which there's a little bit of support for trying to find a way to ban it. It's unclear if it'll have the support of 24 owners, which is what it would need in order for there to be a rule change. But Bills coach Sean McDermott, whose team uses the play, as you see here, more than anybody but the Eagles, even he was saying today that there's player safety issues to consider, and that even if they don't have all the data on that yet, it might be a good idea to be proactive. So a little bit more support for changing that rule than I think we expected when we got here yesterday.
All right, we're going to talk more about that tush push in the second hour, but let's talk about the Cowboys. Brought that up, and Sean McDermott, because I want you to take a listen to Mike Tomlin and Coach McDermott talking about the tush push.
The first time I saw it, I couldn't believe that it was legal because it was illegal on the field goal. That being said, you know, you hate to be against it because, you know, when people are innovative, you want to respect that. And so there's certainly been some teams that have been more innovative than the rest of us in that regard, and you hate to penalize them for it.
I don't think that's really always the best way to go. I think is when you're looking at, there's other data out there that suggests when you're in a posture like we're talking about, that can lead to serious injury. And I think being responsible and proactive in that regard is the right way to go.
Okay, so you're getting basically two trains of thoughts there. Tomlin said, hey, look, don't want to penalize somebody for being creative. You hear McDermott saying, nah, I think it can lead to injuries. I know you're very strong on it. What's your thoughts on it? Should it be banned?
Well, if you listen to Mike Tomlin, he gave you the answer. It used to be illegal when it was the defense doing it to the offense. When you talk about the field goal, when you can double push, make it consistent. If the offense can push, then make the defense push. Then it'll become a rugby scrum, and it's whoever's the strongest, and then somebody is going to get hurt because you have two Rams pushing against each other. You saw Chris Jones get his neck jammed up, in the Super Bowl, and that.
Just shut up with that. Just shut up with that. Chris Jones lined up upside down and sideways. Just stop with that. Stop with that nonsense. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. I'm so sick of this narrative. I'm going to let this clip play, but this is just so dumb. I love how all these people, are so all about player safety and the health of these players now. I love how that's the drum that they're all banging right now. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Yet when we made it safer for quarterbacks, they're like, this is ridiculous. You got to be able to hit quarterbacks. Why don't we play sarcastaball now? Like all this type of stuff. But now with this play that has essentially led to 0 injuries, they're like, oh, the player safety, this is dangerous. This is dangerous. Keep the rules consistent. Keep the rules consistent. I swear, these people, they're just delusional at this point. Seriously, delusional at this point. Right, you care about player safety. That's why you wanted to continue playing football after DeMar Hamlin got injured. Got injured is an understatement. The dude was not alive on the field for an extended period of time. And yet you were one of the people that was like, let's get back out there, boys. Let's play some ball. Really? Okay, sure. Okay, player safety. Okay, right. It's all about player safety now. It's just a bunch of nonsense. Honestly. Seriously. And you know what? I'm going to say this, and I've defended the Bills and even the Steelers for that matter. In the grand scheme of things right now, it's 2 poverty franchises. That's what it is. 2 poverty franchises. Not in the traditional sense. Not the Carolina Panthers. What have the Bills done? Oh, they won the division 5 years in a row or whatever. That's amazing. Congrats. You have Josh Allen. Congrats. Josh Allen is literally an all-time great. He should be the GOAT of this era. The dude should already have multiple Super Bowls, but you failed him. You failed him as a franchise and as an organization. You failed him. Mike Tomlin really getting on by of never having a losing record. Also hasn't won a playoff game in like a decade. It's just so absurd. And then this whole nonsense, that's going to turn into rugby. When has that ever happened? When has that happened? We are in like the peak of these high-flying offenses, and you think that it is going to turn into rugby? And again, you want to cite injuries, and you're going to cite Chris Jones in the Super Bowl, who was already banged up to begin with, who literally lined up upside down and sideways, and you want to use him as an example? Do you understand how stupid that sounds? It's so stupid. And I try not to ever make those types of statements like that on here. I always try to be really natural. And to be very clear, I'm not calling him stupid. I'm not calling any individual stupid. I'm calling the statement stupid, because it is. It's not actually based in reality. It's based on uneducation, which is the definition of stupidity.
That's really what it is. It used to be illegal to hit a offensive player from behind. They're getting second and third pushes while the defense only gets one, and the only option we have is to go over the top. But if somebody's underneath and they're getting pushed by the running back, and then the running back's getting pushed by the tight end, then make it make sense. Make it legal for the defense to be able to get behind my big defensive lineman and push them too. And we'll see the survival of the fittest.
Tim, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know that you can take a special teams play like field goal and equate it to an offensive defensive play. Special teams are officiated differently. That is something that, they are constantly changing in terms of the rules there. For me, from an offense and defensive perspective, look, we're going to eliminate short yardage plays. We're going to eliminate goal line plays.
Come on, Tim.
To me, I don't think it's the same thing, when you look at it that way. So, look, I'm shocked. If everybody were the same at it, then I think fine. The fact of the matter is like some people are better at it than others. Well, part of the reason the Eagles are good at it is they have a left guard that's an absolute mauler. Like that's part of how you build your roster. That's how you call plays. How you design your offense. So, look, I think in many respects, you're not dealing in terms of the injury history or injury aspect of it. You're not, dealing with, big, long, fast collisions that you deal with like on kickoff return. It's completely different. Guys are really, 6 inches apart, which really the injury data there isn't going to bear itself out.
Speak your mind, Bart.
Bruh, how can one side push and the other side can't push? How is it illegal for one side to push?
You can push on the defensive side.
No, you can't.
How can one side tackle and the other side can't? Like how dumb is that? Why can one side throw the ball forward and the other side can't? What are we saying? What are we saying? You're saying that you think that the rules are 100% equal for offense versus defense? Why can you kick the ball offensively? Why can the kicker kick a field goal? But why can't my safety kick the ball? I don't understand. Why can't my safety get the ball and then just quickly punt it? Do you understand how stupid that sounds? Oh my God.
That's why your linebackers are jumping over the top.
On
I
that
tell you what.
play, you can. On that play, you can.
How many times have you ever seen
You just
defensive
can't on
linebackers?
field goal.
How many times have you seen linebackers push their defensive tackle? I tell you what, once again, they're making it for the offense. So I tell you what, it's going to take a defensive player to fix it. I tell you what, next time one of these offensive, these quarterbacks are leaning forward, I'm going to tell my safety to line up at 12 yards. And when he's leaning forward, his head forward, go take a temple shot, knock his ass out. Then they'll take it out because then finally somebody will get hurt. Like, what are we talking about? One side can push, the other side can't push?
Graz,
You can
that's
put
crap.
in that
They
play.
push it with the tight end, then they push it with the running back.
Listen.
You can't push on the defensive side of the ball. You don't think nobody else will get behind there?
When it is not a field goal, Bart. Like you're confusing.
Show me
the rule.
one defense
like
that have pushed.
Leverage, all that stuff. On field, you're allowed to. It doesn't mean they've done it. You're allowed to. I think what they want to eliminate, just like they've done on field goal, is the guy diving over the top because there is injury risk there. If they feel like the defensive response is to launch yourself over the line of scrimmage to try to time it up, then that's the best path in terms of player safety to remove the play.
They're diving over the top because they can't push their defensive tackles. They've been told they can't push their defensive tackles.
You can't on a defensive play.
So nobody's tried that. So nobody's tried that. Nobody thought, hey, if they're pushing with their running backs and their tight ends, let me push too.
I'm curious, Graz, since you are there, the majority of the coaches talking about this, for it, against it when it comes to banning it?
I don't know that there's a clear majority. I'll tell you this, Brian. They're talking about it differently than they used to. When we've been in these meetings the last couple of years, it seemed like there wasn't a lot of support to get rid of it. And this year, it feels like there's a little bit more. Now, Nick Sirianni, the Eagles coach, had a funny interview with NFL Network yesterday where he said, I would hope that Shane Steichen and Jonathan Gannon and Kellen Moore all vote to keep it because they're all head coaches now because of this play. So he thinks that he'll get some support from those guys, former Eagles assistants. But it's important to remember, the coaches aren't going to vote on the rule change. They'll give their input, but it's the owners who have to vote to change a rule. And if 24 of them vote to change it, then it'll get changed. The league does not like ugly television, and there's some people that feel like this is an ugly play. The league does not like plays whose outcome is automatic. Remember, they moved the extra point distance back a few years ago for that reason. So if it gets changed, it's probably more about that than any of the stuff you're hearing.
They don't like ugly plays, yet everyone talks about it and they can't wait to see it, and yet you keep calling it ugly play. Listen, I'm sure first things first and other clips are going to talk about this, and so I'm going to keep talking about it as well, and they'll just be repeat takes. I mean, I've already addressed this so many different times, but calling that an ugly play is also just the dumbest thing ever. And it's also not automatic. I mean, chip shot field goals are still automatic. You know, extra points are for the most part still automatic. I just, you know, right, saying that it's an ugly play, a play that happens like once or twice a game, if that. And in the Super Bowl, when they lined up for the tush push, there was this, here we go. There was like this excitement. And there was like, oh man, will the Chiefs be able to stop it? Like there was actually a build-up for it. It wasn't ugly. People were glued. People were anxious. Eagles fans were anxious. Oh man, okay, here we go. Hopefully we get this. If not, that's a big stand by the Chiefs. It shows that they can stop this play. They were able to stop the Bills. Just dumb. It's hilarious to have this serious conversation about banning this play after the Eagles win the Super Bowl. You don't need to go pick up some tinfoil to kind of start having these conspiracy theories here. I mean, it's just hilarious. It really is unbelievable, man. It's just a chef's kiss of stupidity. People don't like ugly television. They don't like watching you either. Those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about banning the tush push? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.